Coming up on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show.
Kathy, I have to ask you quite possibly the most important question of the interview. Can you explain who is Hunky Dory?
Who is Hunky Dory? Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants?
It didn't seem like you really were vibing with her in a way that you were everyone else. Yeah.
You have to remember, move forward, be nice, but be cautious. Forgive, but don't forget. Thank you. I'll be here all day. Oh my God.
Bottoms up.
Go. Oh my God.
Yeah, what?
Kathy's a born prankster.
Well, what I used to is find animals all the time, and then I'd keep them and hide them in my room.
What?
Your Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show starts now.
Leading up to what might be the most iconic Housewives line of all time.
Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants?
You ladies are having a fun gift exchange, but we start to see you get upset, Sutton.
I don't like being where I don't like people.
What caused you to get so upset in that moment?
I don't know. I kept feeling nitpicked a little bit. And all I could hear in my head was Crystal telling me that I was manic and crazy.
I don't trust being around you. I don't trust your reactions. It feels like kind of manic. I can't deal with crazy people.
When I see her face, that's all I'm hearing. And like this whole coat debacle.
I was naked, and Sutton walked in.
Crystal, are you up?
I was startled, and I dropped to the ground to like hold my body. And she's like, I'm sorry. She's like, whatever you're doing in here.
It was nothing. I'm like, how can I sit here for one more minute looking at her? I really just didn't want to be there. So, and I really was getting a new puppy that night, so I wanted to go.
What's happening? I just want to go home.
Why do you want to go home? My puppy's coming?
No, it's not the puppy. Tell me the truth. What happened? I missed.
Nothing happened.
Just a few baby tears.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God, I pray to Jesus every day. I think he'd throw me a bone. I just need a bone, you know?
A few. Not a lot, Garcelle. It's like it gets more because the more people start to look at you, then you feel like, I really don't want to be here. It just kind of exploded into something that it should not have.
Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants?
So where do you think the party went left?
We were all having a good time, and then presents came out. I remember her saying to Kyle, like, did you bring a present? I think she felt nervous about not bringing a present. That is maybe what triggered Sutton into getting upset. But Dorit, do you know? You know, she was really adamant about getting an apology from you.
What do you need so we can move on from this?
I think she wants an apology.
Please.
No. And I think what really upset her is that there was this word that was put out there, violated.
The word violate is really crazy to me. What crazy planet do you live on?
Not yours.
She felt like it attached a really bad stigma and that it didn't feel right, and she didn't feel like you were acceptive of that and that you would apologize for it. And I think at that point you were so over it, you were just like, no, I'm not going to apologize. It's how I felt. It was like neither one of you really wanted to give in enough to really put it behind you. And I feel like it didn't feel resolved between the two of you because she was harboring some of the resentment or those feelings. You know, it's inevitably going to come out sideways.
Why are you so defensive? What was going on that you're so defensive about?
It didn't seem like you really were vibing with her in a way that you were everyone else. Yeah.
You know, just like I think in any argument, if things are too heated in the beginning, you just need to let things settle down and then come together. And I think that there was no space because it just kept, like you said, rearing its ugly head. It just kept going and going and going.
Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants?
I'm all for like letting bygones be bygones, and honestly, I feel like finally my top burst.
What am I jealous of? Are you
kidding me?
So now I can relax.
So one of the things we learned this season is how much of a prankster Kathy is.
Bottoms up. Go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what?
You chugged 2 martinis in a row. How on earth are you still standing?
It's just water.
Oh my gosh, Kathy's a born prankster. She's just always been like that. It's her nature.
What's your favorite prank you've ever seen Kathy pull off?
God, she's done so many. I'm scared to even say the one that I really liked.
Well, what I used to is find animals all the time.
What?
And then I'd keep them and hide them in my room. And then Mom would finally find out. And she'd say, you know, there's a little boy or a little girl that's missing their dog or their cat. We need to find out where this, and then I'd feel so guilty.
Here is not a prank that Kathy would do, but the joke was really on Kim and me. But my sister, Kathy, would go through the house, and my mom had like her certain rooms, like she didn't want you to walk in unless it was like the holidays, because my mom was a perfectionist. So that's where all like the beautiful crystal and china and all that stuff was. And Kathy would go through the house and pick up all these pieces of like whatever, crystal, china, whatever it possibly was. But then she'd say, there's a sale starting in my room in 10 minutes, because she knew that Kim and I had money.
And I'd put little stickers with the price tags.
She put price tags on all of these things, and Kim and I had saved money, and especially Kim, who hid it under the carpet. And we'd go and take our money and go buy these things that were in the living room 10 minutes ago. And Kathy would walk away with all this money and then go to La Scala and order a chopped salad in Beverly Hills and whatever. And then my mom would come in and say, who took the crystal from the living room? And take it all back from us. And Kim and I were there with no money, no items. And Kathy was out in Beverly Hills having lunch and going to See's Candy and shopping.
Crazy.
I've known Kathy for about 15 years, and what she's really known for is her prank calls. She has been pranking calls since she was a kid. She called me and told me after Dorit's party, you know, she was gonna play a prank to like try to cut my hair. I'm like, you should never do that. You should never just cut my hair off. Who does that? But Kathy does. Kathy does that.
Oh, Kathy does. Kathy does.
It's hysterical because she didn't do it.
After the big blowout at Lisa's house,
Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants?
you and Sutton seem to be in a good place on the trip to La Quinta. What happened?
I think there was a combination of things. Obviously, when like Dorit and some of the girls had gotten sick.
Kathy, Dorit, and I have all tested positive for COVID.
How are you feeling? Because you're in it.
Yeah. I just feel, you know, when you're like, don't feel good and you feel emotional, I just feel like depressed. Oh.
When we had to go into quarantine, when we were all on Zoom together checking in, it suddenly changed the tone of what really mattered.
That's really just in life, you know, when something bigger than just a frivolous argument is happening, whether it's health or it's a tragedy or any of those things, you do kind of step back and realize what's important. And I think that happened to be the perfect timing to start their resolution, because I think both of them at that point were like, oh my God, is this worth it to keep going? I think that was the start to them both taking a breath and not being so hypersensitive about being right or not accepting the other person's point of view.
I mean, that race conversation was very important.
Are you one of those people that you don't see color? Tell me you're that girl. I don't see color.
It still is to me today. But it equally important is when the girls were not feeling well. And that, like I said, that changed the tone, that changed the energy of the group. We were all in it to make sure everyone was okay. And that coupled with, she did reach out.
We did speak on the phone privately, and because I don't like that kind of conflict. It's not in my nature. I don't do that with friends. So I called her and just said, you know, while we're on this break, you know, I just want to tell you, I don't like how this is going. Let's I just want you to know that I don't have any ill feelings towards you. And I think she took it in a really good way.
It started a little bit like defensive. And I remember at the time I was like, okay, I have to take a beat because I know now that I know who she is a little bit more, her apologies begin with being a little defensive.
Being called ridiculous didn't make me feel great, but because I don't like name calling. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a beat. I'm gonna listen to her fully. And so she did reach out and it's like I would like to move on. And I said, I have been wanting to move on since Tahoe.
I'm happy to move forward.
I mean, look, we can take baby steps.
I said, if I tell you I'm moving on, I do. Like I will, that is whether I'm super successful, but that is always my intention.
I mean, look, I will always do that with someone, like progress forward, but always remember what happened in the past. You have to remember, move forward, be nice, but be cautious. That's how I always feel.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Thank you. That's a good way to put it.
You're welcome. I'll be here all day.
Oh my God.
Garcelle, you open up about your big family.
How many are you?
There's 7 of us.
What number are you?
I'm the last of 7.
So if I were to ask you now to name all of your siblings, what are all of their names?
Maurice, Yvonne, Carole, Gladys, Chantal, Ailey, and myself.
Okay, and you didn't forget Carole this time.
My sister Carole. Did I say Carole? There's Maurice, Eve Rose, Gladys, Chantal, Ailey. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's terrible. My sister Carole. I forgot about her. Oh my God. I love you, Carole. I forget her all the time.
Oh no, Garcelle.
I love my sister Carole. We have the best time. We have fun. My mom used to make me go on dates with her and her boyfriend, so her boyfriend would always buy me candy so that I wouldn't, really pay attention. When I had the boys, she came and lived with us for 2 months just so she could help. She's awesome. Imagine having 7 kids.
No.
Sutton.
Well, I mean, I do have 4 dogs and 3 cats. That's 7.
Not the same.
Well, I'm just saying. It's a lot.
Okay.
Kathy, I have to ask you quite possibly the most important question of the interview. Can you explain who is Hunky Dory?
But it's hard for me to sit there and pretend like everything's great and hunky-dory when it's not.
Who is Hunky Dory?
So does Kathy now know Hunky Dory?
Kathy, you've never heard the expression hunky dory?
Yeah, everything's hunky dory.
Our grandmother said that, right?
Dodo used to say that. Heavens to Betsy, hunky dory.
I was just gonna say she also said heaven to Betsy.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Okay.
So Kathy, what made you decide this season that you wanted to hop on board this wild ride?
I think COVID probably had a little bit to do with it. I think Kyle calling, I talked about it with my husband and he said, I think it'd be fun for you. It'd be great time for you and Kyle to spend together. And I said, you're right. And I thought, why not? Why not? I'm going to go for it. This is liberating.
And what do you think of all the fanfare that you've been getting on social media?
Well, I have to say I have never seen a network like Bravo. These fans are part of the family and they're very, very invested and it's their show. And I'm very, very flattered, but I don't want to disappoint,
The Bravo fans are like super fans. They're like sports fans. They know everything inside and out. I said to Kathy, you better get used to all the memes because the Bravo fans are like fanatical sports fans who love every single episode, know everything about you.
I saw a picture the other day and I was commenting on it, and it was of Sutton, and obvious she was kind of hiding her toes and scrunching her toes up. But I didn't notice that. One of the fans said, "Why are you scrunching your toes up?" Well, I think we've all done that in pictures. Maybe she didn't have a pedicure or something. But I was like, oh my goodness, I would never have noticed that.
They notice everything.
What's your favorite moment that they've noticed about you?
Oh my goodness. The Doogie trying to plug in the fan. I have laughed and watched that till I've cried 25 times.
I love Kathy coming out on camera just holding her mic like this. Like, what's happening? Where are we going with the mic in her hand?
Kathy, now that we have you in the chair, I can't wait to ask you something I've always been wondering. Has the splits always been Kyle's signature dance move?
I don't ever remember her doing the splits or cursing. I'm very impressed.
I mean, growing up doing the splits, I would do them, but not out and about. I don't even know how that happened. Someone once said, do the splits, and then it just became a thing. I will always say, I'm never ever doing that again. And then Erika or someone was like, do the splits! And then you're like, okay, we're having fun, and you do it. And then you're like, why did I do that again?
Funny.
Kathy's like, funny.
Some somersaults and a half. I can only do a half a cartwheel.
What does even a half a cartwheel mean?
When you kind of scoot over?
Somersaults.
And somersaults. Yes. Triple.
Well, we're going to have to do that next time.
Triples. That would be fun.